Last week, I had the pleasure of interviewing Paul van der Sterren and Erwin Lamy about their splendid new book, Max Over World Champion, The Champion Years, 1935-1937. I warmly recommend this. Lovely book, beautifully designed, laid out, presented. You can get it directly from New in Chess. And I thought it was fascinating how they discussed Max Over's character and his style of play. And I'd like to show you a clip from our interview. I mean, I recommend the whole thing. I found it really interesting talking with them. But this particular clip shows a game of Over's against Alekhine in 1936. So that's when Over was world champion. Actually, Over had a plus score against Alekhine in those years when Over was world champion. 2 wins against 1. And, well, this game demonstrates how he was more than a match for Alexander Alekhine. But it's so interesting, the contrast between their personalities. So do take a look at this. I think it's absolutely fascinating. And once again, I warmly recommend this splendid new book on Max Over.
He's perhaps not taken. I'd say he's not viewed as such a great world champion because he was so modest. If you look at, I don't know, Steinitz, Alekhine, all those they were pretending in their analysis for that they were, playing perfect chess and that everybody should play like they did. And he was very objective. He would point out mistakes that he made. He would never praise himself all that much. Also, at the time there were no ratings, so people didn't really know 100% who was the strongest player. So you had to do some propaganda for yourself, and Euwe didn't do that. And perhaps that was one of the reasons why people, he just simply didn't
He
make
didn't promote
any propaganda
himself.
for himself.
No, absolutely no self-promotion at all. In fact, he thought that immoral. He has said that I think he has written that in one of his newspaper articles, that he considered it immoral to praise your own efforts, your own results.
To blow his own trumpet,
Yes.
as we
Yeah,
say.
exactly.
Yeah.
You don't do that. That was
No.
his morale.
Exactly. But and Paul, I thought it was really interesting in the book how you contrasted Owen's attitude with Alekhine's, who kind of made himself out to be the hero. It's the hero cult.
He was a huge self-promoter. He was an incredible self-promoter, actually. And because there were no engines at the time to check what the world champion was saying about a position, he was always right. I mean, nobody was in a position to point out that what he was saying was nonsense, except perhaps after long analysis. And
it's really. I mean, I've read quite a few and done some research into a lot of newspaper articles in the 1930s in England from the tournaments there, and the way that Alekhine is spoken of, he cultivated this aura around him. Anyway, listen, let's have a look at this game. So this was from this tournament. So Erwin, just stop whenever you feel like it's a
I would just
crucial
while we
moment.
go through the moves, it's maybe interesting to say that this time actually the opening is not a success for Euwe. He was a bit surprised with the fact that Alekhine chose the 4 knights, but it's very interesting to note that he probably did that because Euwe had a fantastic score in the open Spanish. I made a note on that in the book. I think he scored something like plus 17 in 27 games in a 20-year period. Like an amazing score without losses, actually, in the open Spanish. So people were very much aware of that, and at some point they started avoiding any sort of opening discussion with Euwe, and that's exactly what Alekhine did very successfully, I should add. Because very soon he will gain an advantage in this. It looks a bit innocent for now, but he's the first to play d4, and that's quite important in these type of positions. So black is one move too late, obviously, to play d5, so it gets a little bit of a cramped position. And yeah, over the next few moves, white's advantage is actually gonna become quite serious.
It's quite funny. It looks very contemporary
It does.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
with all these Jocko pianos and
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's exactly what's happening here. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think especially this taking on d4, this was probably not the best way to play, and Alekhine gets a very nice position now. Just has a center here. For instance, a move like Queen d3, I believe was very good, just keeping the center. But also what he did is not so bad. Just
Okay, so where exactly does it go wrong?
yeah, no, it's still all very pleasant. I think. This was not how to say. This was hard work on Euwe's side. First to get back in the game. And yeah, for instance, here after 97, I recall that, well, this is a good moment actually for your viewers, I think. After 97, what would you play with white? And it's not the move that Alekhine makes.
So wait a second. So
So instead of knight f5, what should
instead of
white
knight
play?
f5. Okay, that's it. Okay, let's throw this out there. Yeah.
And I hope I recall correctly, but I'm pretty sure I do.
Okay, so white play. We're throwing out a question to you.
Yeah, and this
To
is
our
quite
good
instructive
viewers.
actually. Quite an instructive moment.
So white play. What would you do next? I should say we've got really viewers from all over the world. We've just had Matt is in Los Angeles. We've had Australia. We've got Brazil, Kolkata. Yeah, all over the place. And
Max
also,
Euwe, he traveled a lot, I think, as vice president. So I'm sure he visited all those countries in his lifetime.
very appropriate. Well, actually, while we're waiting for an answer, because there's always a slight delay, white to play. Paul, I mean, that's something that you also mentioned, that he felt a desire, even during these years as world champion. I mean, obviously later when he was FIDE president and very active there, but he had this desire to promote chess.
Yes, and promote chess in a well. For instance, he was a strong advocate of reorganizing the World Championship procedures. Up until this, the first match between Euwe and Alekhine, it was just the World Championship was just private property of the world champion. Now, Euwe was very strongly against this, and he proposed to completely restructure the World Championship more or less along the lines as it was finally reconstructed after the war. So, if Euwe hadn't lost that second match, we would have had a structure of zonal tournaments, interzonal tournaments, candidates, a fair selection system years earlier. And Alekhine was, of course, completely against this. When he regained the title, that was the end of that.
Yeah.
But that showed his sense of justice,
Fairness.
equal chances, fair play, equal chances for everybody. The World Championship should, on principle, be attainable for the best player in a fair selection system.
Yeah, and then he met Fischer and the Soviets, and that's another story.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Milan in Belgium who suggested bishop e3 or bishop c1 to push the f pawn.
Excellent. Yeah, bishop c1 I think is the best move here. I think it's a very instructive move because you just want to push the f pawn. You just want to go f4, f5, and it's black is pretty much busted actually in this position. It's just very difficult to come up with anything. Just f6 maybe, f4,
and recapture with the d pawn maybe.
I think so. Yeah, that looks very attractive. Yeah.
So if these roll, then okay, that's very, very serious. Okay, so this,
this would have been very. I mean, what Alekhine played knight f5. It's not a terrible move, obviously, but this was very convincing. The move bishop c1.
Okay, I mean, I don't know of course, once the G pawn advances, then it raises the stakes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at least structurally speaking, this is less of an issue for black. I mean, black is still under big pressure, but at least long term, this is a bit more doable, let's say.
I mean, Erwin, you've spoken about how Euwe was very good with the initiative. What kind
Yes.
of a defender was he?
Active defense. So he was always looking for an active. He was not sitting passively. Generally, he was always actively trying to fix the issues in his position.
Yeah.
So definitely not one to sit and wait. I would say. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's one reason why he
And we see that
exchanged
here, by the
pawns
way.
on d4.
Sorry, Paul. Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
sorry.
No, I was just saying that was exactly right what you say, and that was one of the reasons why he exchanged pawns on d4 in the early middle game,
Ah,
which wasn't very good, but it opened up the position to give him at least the prospect of counter chances.
right. So returning to this position,
Yeah,
yes,
I
because
think a very typical Euwe decision to exchange these pawns, which is probably not a very good idea objectively, but he just wants to do something.
but it led to great imbalance, and
Yeah, yeah,
Alekhine faltered, and
yeah, yeah.
then we have this very, very sharp position now.
Mm.
Yeah, he plays
Ah,
g5 because I think if you go knight d6 immediately, there's queen g6, right? So
Mm.
and then knight takes e8, there's knight f2 check.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
So instead he goes g5 first, so that in this position he has queen h3 check. So after
ah,
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
that's
tricky.
crafty. Yeah,
Yes.
very tricky. Okay, so this happened.
Yeah, knight f7 is a big mistake. Because now the endgame starts to yeah, black is now really comfortable.
Now it's
Okay,
turning.
well, let's. So this was played. I want to ask our viewers about this next move for black, because I think this is a very important moment in the game, it seems to me.
Yeah,
So
true.
black to play. So just a quick reminder to everyone, and perhaps those who are arriving a little bit late, we're discussing this really splendid new book, Max Euwe, World Champion, with the two authors, Paul and Erwin. And I've posted the link where you can get it from New in Chess. So, black to play, what's next? Oh, there's always a little bit of a delay on the chat. After this, I want to turn to Nottingham 1936.
There's much to say about that tournament, yes.
There's a lot to say. We need to
Yes.
squeeze it in. And I'm going to start with something a little bit awkward.
Yeah, we need to discuss
from
that
the
as well.
Euwe fans here. There we go. We have Martin, Milan, and Pedone Rosso would like to play c5. Well done. Yeah,
Good move.
undermining. Yeah. And from this moment, black is in control. Okay, of course, it's still rather complicated, and in fact, well, there were some inaccuracies, but basically, Euwe got the job done in the end.
Yeah, to me, it was interesting that he, even after assumption, still allowed a draw. So it was definitely a bit of a hiccup. But yeah, eventually, like you said, he got the job done. So it's
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, you said earlier you weren't quite convinced by his endgame play, and I'm sort of surprised about that because clearly because he was a good attacker, he was a very good calculator, and well, endgame technique is very much about calculation. So I don't know. Yeah, it just
yeah.
surprises me.
The funny thing is, Paul and I, we presented the book at the Max Euwe Center a couple of weeks ago, and
Yeah.
Ivanchuk was also there by pure chance because he was playing a
Ah,
match against Max Ramadan in the Netherlands. And he was very, I mean, we got the opportunity to give him the book, and he immediately started reading it very enthusiastically. And one of the first things he also said was that he said it very respectfully, obviously, but that he was not so impressed with Euwe's endgame technique. And I think it's mostly just in the, it's not, like you said, it's not in the calculation, but it's more like the how to say, the little moves, let's say, the small technical, typical ideas where it sometimes went wrong.